What is up, guys? Welcome back to the next layer where we explore what drives athletes, entrepreneurs, and outdoor adventurers to keep on pushing. Today's guest is someone who knows a thing or two about the grind of building a business, being a college student and a Division One athlete all at the same time. He's a collegiate sprinter at Samford University, multi-time conference champion, and the co-founder of a startup shaking up the NIL world called Strike. Please welcome Cole Grande. How we doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you for that intro. That's awesome.
Of course, man.
And I appreciate you setting this collaboration up.
Of course, dude. I'm really excited to kind of unpack your story and then get into definitely a hot topic right now. A lot of news coming out about NIL stuff. And so definitely want to pick your brain about that because it's a really, up and coming thing, obviously, for the last, 3, 4 years now. And I
Mhm.
think there's going to be some real big waves and shifts moving in the next couple, too. So, yeah, definitely we'll dig into that. But obviously, as we always do, we'll start kind of at the backstory, man, where this all started. So if you want to speak a little bit to your track journey, I know you had an interesting journey in sports and how you ended up
Yeah.
getting into track. So you were telling me that you got into, or you were originally playing like football and lacrosse and then transitioned to track in high school, correct?
Yeah. So for some context, like you said, I was playing I was a football and lacrosse athlete. Since I was in fourth or fifth grade, I kind of played around with a bunch of different sports before then. But that was the case until my sophomore year of high school. And it was actually a certain moment that kind of got me into track. It was at a football practice. I'll never forget it. It was kind of like a fun conditioning day after practice.
Hmm.
And what we were doing is we were just doing racing, like sprint racing. And it was kind of like a ladder. So where I would race someone else. If you win, you go to the next stage and just to kind of see who's the fastest on the team. And I ended up performing very well. I think I got second or third maybe. And one of my very good buddies came up to me after practice and he kind of pitched the idea of me joining the track team. Originally, I wasn't too interested because it was at conflict with my lacrosse season, but after kind of months of more convincing, he got me to kind of take a leap of faith and join the team.
Dope, man. Dope. And what position did you play in football, out of curiosity?
I was an outside linebacker, and I kind of messed around with receivers sometimes.
Messed around like in the backyard, or did you get just some PT at receiver?
Kind of in the backyard.
Me too, man. Me too. In my glory days, and when I was like 8 years old,
Yeah,
my neighbor was a quarterback, so I would like to say that I could have been a receiver if I was, a couple inches taller. That's kind of where that's where it gets you a little bit when you realize that
yeah,
height's a big factor
yeah,
for those skill
definitely.
positions.
Yeah,
No, dude. So then you found your event in sprinting, right? And so
yeah,
like obviously that was kind of like the aha moment in practice, and then you stayed with sprinting the whole time. You're still doing sprinting, right?
yeah,
Correct.
yeah. Short sprints. I made a small transition. I used to be mainly 100 and 200 meter sprinter, but now I'm going into the 400 and kind of leaving the 100 behind.
Hmm. Cool, man. Dude, like I can't imagine because most, I would say like 80, 90% of like Division One athletes, you say, oh yeah, I've been playing since I was 4 years old, 3 years old, 2 years old, or
Yeah.
whatever. What was it like, getting into a whole new sport sophomore year of high school, no idea about a recruiting process, no idea about any of that kind of stuff. What was it like to just jump into that? Like, and how did you kind of perfect your craft so much faster than, the average person, someone that I guess other people that you were competing against had, years and years of experience on you. So how did you kind of stand out and then end up getting recruited?
Yeah, it was super tough. I would give a lot of credit, honestly, to my coach, my high school coach, and it's cliche, but he was truly an amazing coach and really put a lot of time and effort into me and training me, and we were basically like friends also. So having him kind of help develop me as a sprinter was incredibly helpful. I also had great teammates, people that were phenomenal athletes that I could train with on a day-to-day basis. And then also luck and kind of just a natural chain of events that led to me getting recruited my senior year by Samford.
Gotcha. Yeah, dude, it's a powerful thing, man, especially as you're getting, in that shaping period, like coaching, leadership, it's super important, as you know, and as you kind of go up the ranks, it becomes even more important from like a a player led level, but at that age when you're in those high school forming years, like the coaching's almost everything, dude, like no matter what sport it is. And so that's really good to hear. And I'm sure, as you know, and just said, like it would be impossible to get where you are athletically without someone shaping and molding you with that experience. And then you guys were pretty successful in high school too. I'm sure that helped, right? You guys won a bunch of state championships
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, so my sophomore year, it was actually the first year that we had ever even won a regional championship. And
Wow.
then the next year, my junior year, is when we won the first state championship in our school's history. And then we repeated that my senior year. We just had some freak athletes and some amazing competitors on the team, and we did really well.
Yeah. And also like I feel like it's interesting for you specifically too, like jumping into track that's more I mean it's obviously team based, which I've always found very fascinating about like, the men's and women's team and how it's kind of like all one unit and you're training kind of
Yeah.
together with your, pods of events and stuff. How was it going from like a full I don't know. I mean, maybe you could speak a little bit to this, but like a full team atmosphere, at least as everyone maybe thinks it is, as a football team is, comparatively to more of an individual sport like track, where feel like mindset is there, and you can't really, your mistakes aren't covered up by someone else. I guess is what I'm asking. So how was that transition, and how did your mindset have to shift?
Yeah, it's definitely a good question. Well, what was good is that I still got some of the team aspect because I was in the 4x1 and the 4x4 relay. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of camaraderie and chemistry that goes into that. But at the same time, it was very weird being in sprints and like literally competing against my teammates in competition and whatnot. So it was definitely like a difficult transition at first, but I kind of got used to it and I kind of started to enjoy it because it's basically all on you.
Mm-hmm.
Your effort and your input really leads to your output and how well you do and how you
Yeah.
succeed.
Yeah, exactly, dude. That's a good mindset to have and mentality to have, and I feel like you can't have anything other than that way of thinking about it, just because obviously it is all on your shoulders at the end of the day. But I've always found that fascinating, just because my background's in team sports, and being a part, like I guess a cog in a larger machine, is way different than what you're describing there. And so I always wanted to try competing in something. I guess now I'm getting that in my retirement golf life, my individual competition.
Mm, I just started getting into golf as well.
Oh, good
I
luck,
feel
man.
like it's important.
You're gonna get down the rabbit hole, but it is important. Life skill, very important. But the
What's your
rabbit hole,
handicap?
unofficially, 14, 15. I'm probably like a 16, 17 this year. I've been playing like crap, but like yeah, like around that like 15-ish area. How about you?
Solid. Oh, I'm not good enough to even come close to a handicap. I honestly have no idea. I
You
just
don't
got
want
to the
to,
point where I can actually play like a full 18 without
right?
hitting a lot of balls out of bounds and actually play through it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, dude. I mean, the best advice I can give when you're getting into golf, I would even say like tennis or anything like that, is just don't take it too serious. Because like us as
That's my
athletes, we're
issue.
wired, yeah, we're wired to like obviously compete at everything. So the ability to be lighthearted about it is very important for sure. It's very important.
That's an ability I need to pick up on.
Yeah, dude, seriously. But that's why a lot of, as we'll get into, entrepreneurs are athletes. A lot of people want to hire athletes because of that mindset. But it also makes it hard to just have fun at things.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
that's
what I
true.
mean? Like it gets bad when you're playing a family card game or something and you're screaming the F bomb at your mom. It's
Yes, I know it. I started picking up kind of chess, online chess in my free time, and
yeah.
I'll be on my computer or phone and wanting to scream and curse at a computer game. So I
Yep,
understand it.
for sure, dude. For sure. Well, that's awesome. So you're currently at Samford. Obviously, you're going into your junior year. How's the team looking? How are you looking? And all that kind of stuff for this upcoming year.
The team's great. We're in the SoCon, and I think the girls and I think the guys have won indoor and outdoor championships maybe 10 times in a row.
Oh
The
wow.
girls around then on there.
Hmm.
So we have a really great team on the guys side and the girls side. So it's probably not going to change going into this year. And then individually, I'm picking up the 400 meter dash this year, like I said.
Oh, dope.
So there's going to be a learning curve. I feel like naturally that'll probably be my best event.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Why do you say that?
Because I naturally have longer stride length and good decent endurance, and
Hmm.
I'm able to hold my form well throughout the end of the race, and especially when I'm tired. So that's probably why I would
Gotcha.
say.
Gotcha. So what does it look like for you, like your training this summer and stuff? I know this is, I don't know, I mean, maybe this is the wrong way to think about it, but like kind of like slower time, right? Because you don't really jump
Yeah.
right into it when you get to campus, right?
No, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. It's a lot more lifting. I'm trying to sprint 3, 4 times a week. Just more chill. It is a long season because track has indoor and outdoor, so we're really competing from December to May usually. So I try to take a good amount of time and not go too hard.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, the Elos team will be supporting you throughout this season, and yeah, man, thanks for sharing that background. And what we've kind of been waiting for here is just to get into the business that you're building. It's really awesome, and I'll kind of let you dive into your pitch as an entrepreneur, like the problem that you're trying to solve in the NIL space. I think it's really cool. So just talk a little bit about Strike for us.
Yeah, for sure. So the issue that I saw when I got into the NCA and in the NIL space specifically was it was subjective at first when I was asking a lot of my friends who are on my team, on other teams, etc., kind of if they had gotten involved with NIL or if they even really knew how to go about it. There really wasn't many answers, and especially not anyone that I knew that even had an NIL deal.
Hmm.
And when you look into the data, that's what it shows also. At the time, I think less than 20% of athletes in the NCAA had gotten a single NIL deal. Now it's at 30, I think, and it's been 4 or 5 years since the NIL market has been open. So I would say it's not to sound dramatic, but something's broken or there's an issue. And I really have a passion for macroeconomics and market efficiencies and inefficiencies. And I really saw something in the NIL market specifically. One of two things. One was the high cost and the high barrier to entry that intermediaries or third parties were
Right.
charging to the brands to even get into the space.
Hmm.
Excessive upfront fees and also commission and service fees that were very high. So smaller brands who don't have huge marketing budgets really couldn't even get into the market or even
Yeah.
try it.
Yep.
And a lot of red tape they were creating.
Hmm.
So that's kind of why we built out Strike to provide a low cost and seamless and efficient model for brands to be able to enter the NIL market so that on the
Hmm.
flip side, it'll benefit the athletes because they'll have more brands, just more opportunities to be able to even participate in the NIL market.
For sure, man. You're speaking literally exactly to, I'm one of your customers for sure, just because, as we're, and it's funny how you're targeting, those earlier stage businesses just because
Mhm.
that is the real problem, man, because you're going to market with a new idea and you built a product, right? You're going to market with a new idea and yours is a little bit more honed, like you're obviously targeting college athletes. But,
Mhm.
for a product like ours at Elos, where, we have a heating product, we're going to have a cooling product. We don't know exactly who our market is, right? So, like, are we going to really spend, an additional $200 a month, $500 a month to be on a NIL platform if we don't know if like Gen Z is going to be one of our targets, right? Like that's a real
Exactly.
challenge. And so, we were going through that process, and you spoke to some of the other companies that are the intermediaries that are doing this, and it's a big deal, man, for sure. And so, how many years are you into this, and then how did you kind of turn this idea into an actual product?
Yeah. So it's been about 2 years now.
Hmm.
For the first 6 months, it was a lot of kind of theory crafting and coming up with a business model and just the concept and how feasible it was, market research and analysis, stuff of that nature.
Hmm.
After that, the toughest thing was to actually find software developers who kind of had the same vision and idea for the product that we had, and also specifically that they were kind of around our age and wanted to be a part of a startup.
Right.
So eventually we were able to get two super sharp guys to get involved, and that really fit the bill. So then after that, it's been probably about another 6 months of development and really refining the software and the product to be what we want it to be and the vision that we saw in the beginning.
Hmm.
That's honestly it's complete now. So we're launching in 1 to 2 weeks
Ooh,
to
that's perfect
finally.
timing. Awesome.
Yes, so we can start facilitating some deals.
That's awesome, man. So you're kind of transitioning now from dev to sales,
It's
right?
a lot of sales. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So how is How's that process going, man? Because I feel like you can find a new LinkedIn article every week about cold emailing and stuff. So how's that process going? Are you leading that mainly, or are you guys tag
Yeah.
teaming it, you and your partner?
Well, I had prior sales experience last summer.
Okay.
It sounds funny, but I worked at a precious metals firm. So I would
Mm-hmm.
do cold calls and
Yeah,
basically just try to sell random people gold and silver.
that's it,
And
man.
I got my butt kicked doing that, but it really taught me a lot about sales and being able to talk to people and selling a product.
Right.
So that really helped in regards to strike and pitching. It's a much easier pitch to sell someone basically a free product versus trying to get them to buy tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars of precious metals.
Yeah,
So it's
for
been a
sure.
smooth transition, and we really started picking up a lot of traction on the business front these past few weeks.
Good. Good. Yeah, I can imagine. Also, it might be a little bit more interesting for you being in the sports, selling
Mhm.
something in sports rather than metals.
Yeah.
Man, I had a really good question, but I forgot. Oh yeah, very curious. Like, how did you land? Obviously, right? Like, how did you land on the business model, and how do you see? What's your vision for how the business model is going to grow? Because obviously, you're probably not the first person to say, "Oh, I want to make this buried entry $0," right? There might be a reason that the other companies aren't doing it. So how do you kind of see this business model working, and then what's kind of like the key goals for you guys? Obviously, you said you just started the sale like kind of launch phase here. What are kind of the key goals for you guys as you grow?
Yeah. So my partner and I see it more as like an AI and tech company. One of our software developers specializes in AI integration. It's kind of a big buzzword right now, but we think it's going to be meaningful, especially in the NIL space. So it's really creating, our goal is really to create a platform that makes it seamless, easy, something that a business can download on their app or on the app store and
Yeah.
use, sign up, make a posting, and connect with athletes in 10 to 15 minutes without anyone having to tell them what to do. And it's really just about building out a marketplace and a centralized location to where on the business side of things, it'll be very easy for them. And then on the athlete side of things, it's just another tool in their toolbox. They can use these other platforms alongside ours and just use it as another tool to hopefully get more NIL sponsorship deals.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. So how do you balance like when you're launching something like this? And I do agree that the angle is obviously efficiency. I think that's really cool, a way to think about it too, and using AI to do that. How do you approach like what's kind of like that growth lever? Is it the business? Is it sorry, the getting more brands on, or is it how many athletes can we get on first? Right? I think it's probably the brands, right? But like also like how do you balance getting the brands and then also having the athlete volume there to support the brands coming on? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's definitely more the brands. On the
Hmm.
athlete side of things, I think word of mouth and social media, it will probably be the main lever. If one of your buddies gets an NIL deal and he had a lot of
Yeah.
success, obviously, you're going to be very interested.
Right.
On the brand side of things, is really where we're focusing most because the issue is with a lot of these platforms, the reason why that majority of athletes aren't getting deals done is because of the lack of brands. There'll be a very high athlete to brand ratio. So that's why we're really pitching the brands very hard so that we have enough brands for all of our athletes to work with,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. I think it's really cool because like I think you're getting into a market right now that is like, very close to like this inflection point that we see in like most markets where like it starts like for the NIL space specifically obviously, right? Like you have football and basketball players that have all the deals. They have the TV deals, they have the $1 million deals. But you don't have like it's the gap between the top 1% of the market and then the rest of the 99%. There's like all access, zero access. So I think it's really cool
Exactly.
that you're kind of getting to this point of like that tipping point in the market, and I think we're getting there. Like I don't know, that's why I wanted to talk to you about like kind of some of these things that are coming out now that you're seeing. Obviously the rev share stuff, but I read an article like a couple weeks ago just about like this this hockey kid. that's getting like a $700,000 offer from Michigan State, which is like crazy because like it's not football basketball, right? Like, and that's
Yeah.
like that's like a huge number for something that's not football basketball. And then like on my side of the coin, like the soccer stuff, I'm hearing rumors about like $30,000 offers to transfer and stuff like that, which is
Mhm.
like when I was playing Division 1 and NIL just started a couple years ago, that was like a foreign idea. So I think it's really cool now that your guys are kind of getting in right at the time that I feel like we're going to kind of get some parity in this market. Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's coming to a point where there will be democratized access, and that just comes from there being more competition in the
Yeah.
third party and intermediary market with companies like us coming in and lowering cost and lowering the barrier to entry on both sides.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. Really cool space to be in. And yeah, man, like we pride ourselves too, and I love it too because too being a being a startup founder, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about too, just like how you're balancing everything. But being a startup founder, you can't kind of do everything all at once, and your budget's tied up, obviously
Mhm.
being early stage, and your time is very valuable, especially for you too. And so having an opportunity for a brand like Elos that wants to build around athletes, just an easier way to get to athletes. I think that's a really cool thing, and I think a lot of brands will kind of feel the same way. So it's really cool. But yeah, that's why I want to ask, like, how have you balanced all this, man? I know you have a partner and a couple. You said you hired some software guys too. How have you managed all this with school and track and all that kind of stuff?
It's definitely really tough. Well, going into this, I didn't really have good time management skills even between school and track, so I've definitely had to improve on that front. But a lot of it's kind of like natural,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Like I know, well, obviously I know when I'm supposed to be in class, I know when I'm supposed to be at practice, and then I have tasks that I need to get done on my own time. So it's kind of just about like delegating and doing the most important things first. But it's been tough because, and it's not really only school and track and work. It's like my girlfriend, my friends,
Right.
my
Right.
family. So a lot goes into it, but it hasn't really been overwhelming. It doesn't really feel, obviously it's a job, but it doesn't really feel like work. It doesn't really feel like tough work. I
Yeah.
enjoy reaching out to athletes. I enjoy conversations like this. I enjoy pitching businesses.
Right.
So I can't say that I'm in a difficult situation, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I think that's good perspective. I guess everything, and it just gets harder. Sorry to tell you, but I mean,
Nah,
easier in the sense that like, like, cause I was in your shoes just 2, 3 years ago. Wasn't but we were kind of building Elos at the same time too, so definitely kind of see what you're saying. We were in the definitely earlier stages. We weren't trying to launch while we were in college, but yeah, man, no, I definitely see it. And in terms of it getting harder, you think it would get easier, right? When you don't have school or maybe your sport anymore. But there's new things that you have to balance. There's always going to be that
yeah,
part of life. So getting these, my point is getting honing those skills is right, and saying yes to things that while you're in college, I think is awesome, man. So congrats on what you're doing, and obviously we'll shout out all of Strike's platforms and everything that you guys are doing, and we'll help
I
promote
appreciate
the
that.
the launch, man. So really really awesome with what you guys are doing, and thanks for sharing all that. But yeah, man, I just have a couple more before we round this thing out, if that's cool. Just a couple rapid
Yeah,
fire questions.
yeah, let's do it.
Is there any like business figure, athlete, anyone that inspires you that comes to mind? Maybe some like reading, like a book about this person, podcasting, any of that kind of stuff. Is there anyone that comes to mind as like someone that you look up to, I guess is the best way to put it.
This might sound corny, like I look at it more as like I admire certain people, but not they don't really inspire me. Like my dad, my mom, my grandpa, my grandma honestly
It's
inspire me
not
the
corny.
most. My grandpa was a very savvy businessman. He started up multiple companies in hardware in like the 70s or 80s, and then in aerospace engineering. So in regards to business, he really inspires me. My dad was a collegiate athlete. He played Division 1 lacrosse at UMass, kind of when it was a newer sport. So in regards to athletics, he's really the one that inspires me, and he's honestly the reason why I'm a Division 1 athlete now. He was doing solo training sessions with me, and then paying for trainers when I was very young and kind of just like honing my craft. He's always been there and help make my meals, training, everything. So like I'd say my family inspires me more than any kind of person on the internet or social media that I don't really know. I
Yeah.
admire those people, but like I said, they inspire me more.
That's awesome, man. Great answer. It's a media trained answer right there, for sure.
I didn't try to fake it or
No,
make it
for sure,
sound
man.
that way,
And
but
we
it's
did not
true.
send him this question before,
Yeah,
so it was definitely on the
I
cuff,
didn't.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, what do
I'm
you?
not full, for the record, I'm not full of crap, and I'm not like a sales guy that kind of BS's. I swear I'm not.
No, we don't. No one will get that from this podcast, man. Don't worry. What what do you see? I mean, this is a broad question. I don't know if you're gonna even have an answer, but I'm gonna put you on the spot. What do you see as next for college sports in the kind of rev share NIL space? Like, what are you expecting to see? And obviously, we've seen a lot go down recently, but what do you kind of expect to see moving forward over the next year or so?
Unfortunately, just the way things are moving, it looks like there's going to be a lot more rules and regulation. I said
Yeah,
unfortunately because I'm super into free markets. I love Milton Friedman, I love Thomas Sowell, and I think that markets tend to operate a lot more inefficiently, especially when people get involved that have nothing to do with athletics or space in the NIL industry. But I really can't give like too much of an educated answer, but I hope that's not the case, but it seems like it will be.
yeah, definitely agree. And yeah, jury's out if that's gonna be good or bad, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's it's definitely it's gonna come for sure. But yeah, no, definitely see that. And then the last question, man, is just something that we ask, all of our guests. The purpose of this podcast, peeling back your next layer a bit, which is basically what is your next layer. So that could be anything physically, mentally, career wise, athletically, anything like that. What is kind of how would you define what your next layer is?
Like in regards to something that I'm gonna eventually pursue or
Yeah, anything. Like, we've had all the answers from like I'm going to like basically like I want to instill this habit in the next year, all the way to like this is my dream in 50 years. You know what I mean? Like, how would you define what your kind of next layer is? Like, what you want to focus on, prioritize, all that kind of stuff.
something I've been thinking about a lot recently, especially going into my junior year of college and athletics, and I probably won't be pursuing track or athletics after I mean after college. I'll still be working out and training and stuff, but
Right.
probably not competing. And I've been competing in athletics since I was about 5 or 6 years old, so it's been a huge part of my life. So I
Hmm.
think something I've really been thinking about and focusing on is kind of honing that like fire and competitiveness that I have on the track and that I've had in previous sports and kind of transitioning that into the business and kind of like money making world so that I could do well for myself in the future.
For sure, man. That's a good
I'm
perspective
not
to
sure if that
have.
makes sense,
It
but
does make sense. It does make sense. Also, enjoy
I
the
haven't told anyone that. So I can't, I haven't like, it's hard for me
heard
to
it.
articulate it, but
Yeah, all good. Heard it here first on the Next Layer Pod, but no, man, I think that definitely makes sense. And also, what I'll say as free advice, being in your shoes to some degree a couple years ago, is just enjoy the last couple years of competing too,
yeah.
because you never know, as you know and have probably seen, a lot of stuff can happen, and like you never know what the next step's going to be. So just enjoy every time you have to compete. I think that's on the field, on the track. It's a really cool thing that not a lot of people get to experience. So definitely enjoy it, man. But yeah, the thinking about what's next is always important.
Yeah.
So awesome, dude.
It's sad
Well,
and I'm gonna miss it, but
yeah, man.
life.
Yeah, that is life, man. It's all about moving on to the next thing, the next layer, man. But yeah, man. No,
I like
Cole,
that.
yeah, but Cole, I appreciate you hopping on, man. You have an awesome story, and what you're building at with Strike is really cool. Like I said, we'll make sure to tag everything on your business, also your personal stuff. So if you're not following his journey or the company's journey, make sure to tune in there. And yeah, as we always say, make sure to give us a shout on Elos socials. Everything's at Elos Thermal, website www.elosthermal.com. And yeah, guys, so we'll be back next week with another guest who's going to be pushing boundaries in their own lane. Until then, stay warm, stay gritty, keep pushing that next layer. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.